Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Thursday, June 27th, 2019. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here is a look at the daily time frame of the ES. You'll see that in the previous session we talked about the 2940 level being very important. Price came right up to that point. I believe it was about 2939 evens, and that's right where resistance held, and price dropped the rest of the session. Quietly so, but dropped the rest of the session. Today we're seeing much of the same. We saw price drive up just shy of that 2940 in pre-market trading and then drop back down somewhat. You also have that two-day low right there, which is very reminiscent of the two-day lows that we had before, right before the stops came out and price dropped. We could see another one of those days here where we drop through those lows and continue downward back toward 2880. Remember, we have our key range that takes us from 2800 to 2961. The midpoint here is 2880, and if you reject at the top of this range, you tend to come right back to the midpoint of that larger key range, and that's the approach right now. We look like we are dropping toward that end. We continue to hold below 2940s. This is the level to watch, though, for a failure. If price were to push through 2940 and find acceptance, that could lead to the next continuation higher. Think of it something like this here, where we looked like we were headed lower and then all of a sudden broke through the top end of the range and started to squeeze. So again, we will keep an eye on 2940 for a shot at breaking higher and perhaps retesting the highs. But as of right now, we have rejected so far 2960s, and we have broken through support. We are holding prior key level there at 2940, and we continue to show resistance off that zone, and that could lead to more short-term weakness toward 2880 at the very least. So we'll continue to watch 2940 as a major level here on an intraday basis and on a swing basis. Taking a look at the NQ, you'll see the NQ showing very similar price action as well. The NQ showed a downside break through that 25 level, the 7725s, broke down through that level, and in the previous session we were talking about 7700 being the important level, and you can see there's kind of a range between 7725 and 7700, and that's the zone right there. That's the zone where bears are trying to keep offered, and if they can successfully keep that zone offered, there could be more downside ahead. Perhaps back towards 7400, maybe even all the way back toward the 7300, which is the bottom of this key range here. So we have that great key range with the midpoint here at 7581. Overall, any failure to get back above the 7700, 7725 zone will suggest more downside to those downside targets. So again, keep an eye on this upper level. You can clearly see this 25% level right here, very important. Prior support, it went offered, now resistance. Obviously we can push through that zone, and if we find acceptance back above it, there could be another retest of highs, but as of right now, bears are attempting to keep that zone offered for a shot at lower prices. Let's take a look at crude oil. Crude oil here continues to be on a path higher. This one remains very strong overall. We've got the upside break through the 55 CLVN, a very nice continuation. In the previous session, we had a draw that was much larger than expected, 12 million barrels, when the expectation was for a draw of 2 million. Again, the API report helped to forecast that there could be a larger than expected draw. That led to an immediate pop in price, but then price just kind of sat the rest of the day and didn't really go much of anywhere. Overall, you can see the 8-period average continues to rise very quickly here, and any pullback could still be a great buying opportunity for a continuation higher. Overall, any pullback into even next week, which is the beginning of July, could still provide a great continuation towards 60 to 62. We fell just shy of 60 yesterday. 59.93 was the high. Again, today we are seeing a minor lower low failure here. It broke below the previous session's low by 4 ticks or so and then bounced. Again, we could see more of a play downward over the next couple of days here, but overall this thing has been very bullish, not expecting to see a deep pullback, but any pullback of any magnitude here, even as deep as 55, could still be an opportunity to buy for a continuation higher in crude oil. Lastly, taking a look at gold. Gold has been very bullish the last 2 days here, the last 3 days really. we've seen a little bit of a pullback, and not quite as deep as the 8-period average. You can see this was the pivot range from before. The forecasted pivot range for next month is quite a bit higher. After you see a move of this magnitude, that's a huge move here with the range, current range, from that low to this high of the month. You're going to tend to see some sort of digestion of that move. So next month could be a month where we see back and forth sideways action as it builds up for another continuation to the upside. Again, the expectation is for this one to continue to push higher toward 1525 at the very least, as long as 1375 remains intact. Next month we could see a pullback as deep as 1375, back up to 1440, and kind of build out ahead of the next continuation higher. As of right now, again, any pullback could still be seen as a buying opportunity with an upward bias. All right, that's it for now. We'll see how this develops heading into the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.